that do not befit His majesty. And others deny many of the names and attributes of Allah because they do not have the proper understanding of them. So we must be very careful. And among the most fundamental of knowledge is the knowledge of Allah's names and attributes. There are many books that have been compiled that actually deal with each one of the names, and they give you the definition and how you could implement them in your life. And this is from the mercy of Allah. In any language you speak, you will find this information available. I advise myself and you to invest into this kind of book, so we will know who we are worshipping, because the problem with every other religion upon earth is that they do not know Allah. Some say He is a human being, some say He is an animal, some say He is a statue, some say He is one of three, and the list goes on. And the very problem of them, the reason why they were disqualified from belief, is because they do not know who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And this is the worst kind of ignorance that we may have. So I remind myself and you to exert some time to learn the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we can put them into our life. When we know that Allah is the most merciful, then we have hope in the mercy of Allah. When we know Allah is severe in punishment, then we are afraid of the punishment of Allah. When we know Allah is Sami'un Basir, the all-hearer, the all-seer, then we know Allah hears us whenever we say something wrong. Allah sees us when we do something wrong. When you are mindful of Allah like this, then your Iman is going to increase, and we will be acting accordingly. We will be conducting ourselves in a manner that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To look attentively at the biography of the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and verily if you read the seerah, and one of the most better put information in the book of the Seer Nectar by Shaykh Mubarak Furi rahmatullahi alayhi, you know, this was won a competition when they presented a competition about who can compile the best autobiography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and this particular book won. Alhamdulillah, it's available in English. And I advise myself and you to read the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. See how he lived his life, how he conducted himself. And this will be means of you imitating him. Because sometimes you will not understand the hadith until you see how it was actually put into practice by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in his seerah, in his biography. Then you will see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aided him, how Allah protected him, how Allah supported him. So this will increase your Iman, because you feel that you're following the best man who ever walked upon this planet. So this will increase your love to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and as a byproduct of that, then your Iman will automatically increase as well. And many Muslims today, they know the biographies of singers and actors and foolish people. They know everything about them, when they were born and everything, but they know nothing about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam except celebrating his birthday on a day which is not really part of the deen to begin with. And so we must read the seerah, get acquainted with the seerah, learn the way he conducted himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for me and you to see how far we are. Just look at the way he treated his wives, and look how me and you treat our wives. If you are married, excuse me. Wallahi, you will be shocked. We are horrible. We may be horrible with our wives, absolutely nonsensical with our wives, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to deal with 9 and 12, and he managed with the kindness and gentleness and with the jealousy that they had. I mean, you can only imagine what it was like. Read the seerah and see how he dealt with them, alayhi salatu wassalam. So when we read this, then we look at ourselves and say, man, I'm a lousy brother, I need to fix myself. But sometimes we forget unless we read the seerah. So I remind myself and you to get attached to the way of the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so our Iman will increase, because dhulm is a problem. When you mistreat your wife, it's oppression, and oppression is darkness on the day of judgment, and it will not be forgiven unless she forgives you. And if she doesn't forgive you, then you'll be held accountable on the day of judgment. So this situation is serious. We must become acquainted with the biography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for us to live according to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best whoever walked on this earth. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His peace and His blessings upon him and his companions and all of us bi'idhnillah azza wa jal, if we follow them on the righteous path. Reading the life and the stories of the Salaf of this ummah, our righteous predecessors. Yani, if you read their biography, whether it is the companions or the tabi'een or atba'u tabi'een and those who came after them, you will be shocked at these pure souls and clean hearts, this immense love for Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people who cared for this deen, people who strove for this deen. Some of them would travel long distances to hear a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now one of us is too lazy to look it up on Google. Too lazy to put it in Google to see whether the hadith is sahih or not. As soon as he gets an email, forward to everyone, akhi, Allah will reward you. Forward ala tu, yalla waddi, khalli walli. You get some crazy information in the email. See, what is it, ya akhi, a hadith, da'if, mawdu'. This is lying against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Bother ya akhi to search, bother to ask a brother who knows. Ma'alish akhi, I don't know Arabic. Can you refer to the references in the Arabic to tell me whether this hadith is acceptable for me to forward it or I should stop? Too lazy. But Imam Bukhari went all over just to hear a hadith. He would pray 2 rak'ah for each hadith before he added to his book Istikhara. 2 rak'ah before he added a hadith. Now we don't even look up a hadith online before we forward it to the brothers and gain sin as opposed to gaining reward. So when you look at their lives, you realize how lazy me and you are. We're so lazy, it's not even funny. Everything has become convenient for us. You want the whole deen of Islam, you get it on a CD called the Maktab al-Shamila. Since when does everything Islam is on one CD? You know, this was the hard work and effort of thousands of people who came before us, who dedicated their lives for this information. Now you get it on a CD for 1 riyal. You pop it into your computer, yalla. The whole knowledge is within reach. And we're still too lazy to benefit. So when we read their lives, we will reconsider what we are doing today. And perhaps it will be means for us to imitate them. And Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullah said, he said, verily, if you imitate them, then you're imitating the best. This is good enough for you. The meaning of his speech. If you imitate these people, what else do you want? Imitating the Sahaba and those who came after them? Wallah, it's a sharaf. It's an honor for one of us to imitate these individuals as opposed to imitating the singers and the actors and the actresses and the players and the soccer people and all these people. Who are these people? They dedicated their life for the dunya. And these brothers dedicated their life for the akhirah. And we leave them alone and we take the new ones. So we should reconsider our objectives in life. Reflecting on the universal signs or al-ayat al-kawniyya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look around you, ya akhwan, brothers and sisters. Look around you. Look at yourself before you look elsewhere. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directed us towards this understanding. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبْلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ وَإِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ وَإِلَى الْجِبَالُ كَيْفَ نُصِبَتْ وَإِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ. Do they not look at the camels, how they were created? This amazing animal, which has this endurance to maintain in the desert with little water. And the way it works as an animal is outstanding, unlike the cows and the sheep and everything else. Do they not reflect upon this creation of Allah? And the sky, how it was raised? And the mountains, how they were made to be firm, fixed in the earth? And the earth, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it flat and spread it out for us to move upon it like we are moving upon it right now. So this is a reminder from Allah to ponder upon the creation. Ponder upon yourself. This mind that you're using right now. How is it except listening to me? Now through your ear, you're not seeing words. You're listening to the words. And then your brain translates them to you to knowledge, information. And then you store them. It's an amazing machine. It's an amazing machine that we have in our body every day of our lives. This, when you see the greatness of the creation, what does that tell you? The greatness of the Creator. If we, the children of Adam who came from a sperm, are that sophisticated, are that great in creation, then what about the heavens and the earth? And then after you look about the heavens and the earth, then what about the one who created everything? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you know the greatness of Allah, your iman will increase.